The dark green energy ripple spilled out, and the entire space seemed to shrink slightly like a heartbeat. Then, countless violent demonic powers exploded all at once. The snowflakes in the sky were shattered under the punch of the demonic phantom, collapsing like earth crumbling. The void trembled as the ice energy quickly retreated and shrank. Even the magnificent ice palace exploded in an instant under the punch of the demon Xiao. A seemingly simple strike destroyed this top-tier ice-based immortal art. Xiao remained motionless, his evil eyes containing some ancient and sinister power as he stared intently at the Yao Yue in the sky, who had already crossed half of the reincarnation tribulation. Having crossed half of the reincarnation tribulation, Yao Yue was surrounded by an extremely mysterious aura, and that power was undoubtedly destructive to Xiao and the others. Crack, crack. The ice dimension was completely shattered, and the void twisted. Countless icy threads and low temperatures were instantly replaced by the dark green evil flames. The bizarre dark green world seemed more like shackles, imprisoning and locking down the many poisoned servants, who had already turned into ice sculptures below, now nutrients for the devourer mother insect. Plop. Good, good, good. At this moment, in the center of the reincarnation tribulation in the sky, Yao Yue stopped absorbing the power of the devourer mother insect. Her gaze turned toward the demon Xiao, and the crazy sound of numerous demon-like blood splashed out. The sky was filled with evil flames, whose power was even comparable to the sacred flame. The entire world was enveloped in a sickening dark green, and the ground began to crack. An eerie, chilling sensation spread through the air. Xiao, brother. Xun'er and Little Fairy Doctor both looked up at Xiao, whose entire body was surrounded by boiling evil flames. They expressed their concern. At this moment, Xiao seemed to truly be a demon. The power emanating from him even made their reincarnation seal within their bodies beat with a heart-stopping sensation. The power of the demon was too strong, especially the punch Xiao just delivered, whose power was no less than that of a top-tier immortal art. It was as if under that single punch, countless lives would be obliterated. The ice dimension is broken. Yao Yue, come down and die. The demon Xiao roared. That punch earlier contained a power that even he himself could not fully comprehend. With a single strike, the ice dimension completely shattered. The poison god palace altar regained its original form, but the clash between the remaining demonic energy and the power left behind by the ice dimension made the place full of holes. What is your relationship with the supreme ruler of the netherworld? Yao Yue stopped crossing the reincarnation tribulation, letting the world-destroying thunderbolt power corrode her delicate body. The shock in her eyes slowly turned into greed. She knew that the demon Xiao's ability to break her top-tier immortal art was definitely not a coincidence. If she tried to forcefully pass the tribulation again, and Xiao disturbed her, she would be obliterated, both body and soul. Having crossed half of the reincarnation tribulation, Yao Yue's strength had now reached the level of nearly a true fifth reincarnation stage. This power was enough to deal with the demon Xiao. Moreover, the fleeting shadow of power that had just appeared on her body was so potent that even the true poison god would find it challenging to rival. A distorted thought slowly emerged. You are strong, but I have not lost. Yao Yue's lips curled into a strange smile, a smile that even made Xiao, the demon, feel a chill. In an instant, the ice energy surrounding her body withdrew, and greenish poisonous mist surged from her delicate nose, rapidly corroding her skin. In the next moment, almost no part of her skin remained intact. White halos began to appear from her filthy skin and slowly dispersed into the air. Power of the poison god Mysterious Crane? Little Fairy Doctor exclaimed in shock, for to her surprise, the devourer mother insect was actually turning into pure power under the influence of this force, fusing with the white essence emanating from Yao Yue's body. Even the greenish aura that surged from Yao Yue's body caused the reincarnation seal on her forehead to explode with an intense, greedy force. That power had a fatal attraction for her reincarnation seal. No, I can't go over there. No. In a blink of an eye, Little Fairy Doctor suddenly realized something. She quickly placed her hands on her forehead, trying to cover the power of the reincarnation seal, but it was too late. The power emanating from Yao Yue contained a trace of the poison god's essence. Though she did not know why Yao Yue possessed such a thing, it had a deadly attraction to her reincarnation seal. Rustle. Reincarnation. Return. The white energy source stood quietly in the sky, sending out waves of suffocating fluctuations. Crack. The void twisted, and little fairy doctor's body immediately went out of control. The reincarnation seal burst with endless radiance, rushing towards the source of the light in the sky, where Yao Yue's essence was. Not good. Instantly, Xiao and Xun'er exchanged a glance, their eyes filled with endless concern. Two earth-shattering roars rang out, accompanied by a brilliant burst of energy that surged toward the very core of the monster moon. The void trembled uneasily, black holes began to emerge, and the entire world erupted in violent shaking. Ha ha ha. Xiao, this time, I want to see how you choose. Do you want me dead, or do you want her to live? With a flick of the hand, a contemptuous voice suddenly echoed from within the core light sphere, and then, the very essence of Monster Moon directly seized control of little fairy doctor's body, completely overtaking her delicate form. At this moment, a wave of indescribable shock appeared in Xun'er's eyes. As for the demon Xiao, his fist involuntarily loosened, and his body slightly trembled. What he was witnessing before him was something he had never heard of. Monster Moon. If anything happens to her, I will tear you apart and obliterate your soul. A deep, boundless anger surged from Xiao's chest. I want the sacred flame essence within your body, and I also want the demon seed inside you. I want everything inside you. In the blink of an eye, little fairy doctor suddenly seemed like a different person, her gaze indifferent, her tone cold and sinister, showing no mercy, like a wicked villain. Brother Xiao. Suddenly, the air above Poison God Palace trembled, and 5 venomous crocodiles, carrying deadly toxins, crawled forward. At the same time, a familiar aura appeared in everyone's view. Looking up, they could barely make out a weak figure flying toward them. It was the Mirror Moon Palace Master, but behind her, there seemed to be something even more terrifying. Xiao Xun'er, thank you both. Now, leave the rest to the Grand Elder. Mirror Moon gave a gentle, kind smile, then turned her gaze toward little fairy doctor, who was behaving oddly in the sky. Monster Moon, if I had known it would come to this, I wouldn't have bothered in the first place. Above the sky, 5 energy-infused venomous crocodiles formed a mysterious array. Suddenly, ancient bronze-like light patterns began to twist and hum. After a moment, a frail figure emerged from within, and the entire trembling world grew silent. The newcomer was bathed in a greenish glow, immovable like an ancient stone sculpture. When their eyes opened, an overwhelming, calm, and terrifying aura poured out like a collapsing mountain flood, instilling a deep sense of helplessness. Grand Elder Palace, Ancestor Crocodile. When little fairy doctor's eyes landed on the figure before her, her face turned ashen, and a chill of terror spread through her. The Grand Elder Palace was the residence of the strongest in Poison God Palace. The center of the demon realm had tried several times to recruit them, but had been firmly rejected. This showed that those who could reside there were far from ordinary. The Grand Elder Palace had only a few inhabitants, but without a doubt, those who lived there were either lifelong allies of Poison God Mysterious Crane, or had great contributions to Poison God Palace. Most importantly, their strength was at least at the 5th reincarnation stage. The 5th reincarnation stage. Not the quasi-5th reincarnation, but the true 5th reincarnation stage. A single word difference, like a chasm that could never be crossed. Ancestor Crocodile, now that the situation is set, even if you come out, you won't be able to change the tide of battle. Poison God Palace is mine. After a moment, little fairy doctor suppressed the fear in her heart and began to channel other powers. The reincarnation seal in her forehead began to glow, and greenish poisonous patterns spread out, covering the entire world. Though Monster Moon had temporarily seized control of little fairy doctor's body, she knew far more about Poison God Mysterious Crane than the earlier little fairy doctor with the reincarnation seal. so she was far more skilled at controlling the reincarnation seal and other powers. The words of Poison God. Possessing one of the 2 Poison God tokens can make one a true Poison God. This girl is the symbol of my Poison God Palace's revival, and Poison Gods will not simply disappear. Monster Moon, you have violated many of the laws of Poison God Palace. Now that you still refuse to repent, what punishment do you deserve? Ancestor Crocodile took a step forward, and a pressure from the heavens descended. Below, many of the poisoned servants, who had been frozen and suppressed, trembled and spat out poisonous blood, weak but regaining their wits. Grand Elder Palace, Ancestor Crocodile? A few sharp-eyed individuals in the crowd immediately recognized the elderly figure in the sky. At the same time, the poison pill that had been residing in Little Fairy Doctor's body and the ancient reincarnation seal on her forehead slowly began to drift out through her hands. A deadly and potent toxic mist spread once again, but unlike before, after this mist spread, the entire void was filled with a sense of shattered dispersion. This guy is clearly trying to destroy this space completely. Your poison cultivation technique is indeed unique, but after continuously going through tribulations and using top-tier immortal arts, you no longer have the strength to fight. To try to reverse the situation with such methods is rather laughable. Ancestor Crocodile's hand twisted, beginning to draw a bronze glow. The glow, like faint starlight, slowly bound and suppressed the restless power inside Little Fairy Doctor's body. With her internal power temporarily disabled, countless shock and astonishment appeared in Little Fairy Doctor's eyes. Little one, I will seal all your venomous power. To suppress you, I still need you to lend a hand. After doing all this, a strange glow chain suddenly appeared in the sky above Ancestor Crocodile's body and Little Fairy Doctor's. The chain seemed to be jointly blocking and sealing the powers inside their bodies. Xiao Yin, spare her life. Looking at this scene, Mirror Moon's expression was filled with sorrow, and after a long pause, she turned her back to the Demon Moon, who was occupying Little Fairy Doctor's body. Demon Moon cultivates poison arts, one of the 3 great poison arts of Poison God Palace, 10,000 Venoms Guide. This poison art is particularly potent, and unlike ordinary poison arts, its killing power comes from a special venomous liquid that is secretly planted into the enemy's body without their knowledge. It forms a toxic barrier that controls the enemy's mind. Although this poison art is insidious and vicious, few can overcome it, and it only has a single battle strength. This is why Demon Moon couldn't kill Xiao Yin before using top-tier immortal arts, because controlling the inner circle of Poison God Palace had already exhausted nearly all her power. Indeed, it's the 10,000 sacred poison pill. Wait, what is this? Power surged out, and the terrifying poison power began to spread. However, it seemed as if something within Little Fairy Doctor's body was slowly overflowing. Gulch. Poison God Cauldron? At this moment, a poison pill suddenly emerged from Little Fairy Doctor's delicate body. The pill emitted numerous greenish toxic fumes, and under the cover of these fumes, an unremarkable greenish ancient cauldron entered her sight. Gulch. 2 Poison God relics? And the reincarnation seal of the Poison God? Poison God above. Numerous reverent voices howled towards the beautiful figure in the sky. The figure stood slowly like a divine throne, surrounded by the poison cauldron and the poison pill. Waves of power capable of shattering the heavens and earth gently flowed. Demon Moon, it's over. The demonic Xiao Yan's body surged with demonic radiance, and the endless demonic soul mountain followed closely behind. Blood and flesh, demons and sacred flames, souls and bloodlines, multiple forces combined, making the demonic Xiao Yan look extremely sinister. But none of it mattered anymore. It was all over. Little brat. All of this is because of you. Die. Demon Moon was instantly ejected by the supreme power of the 2 Poison God relics. The last bit of the Origin Light Sphere suddenly became restless, and the half-completed reincarnation tribulation, which had been stalled at the top of the sky, seemed to have received an order and rapidly roared downward towards the demonic Xiao Yan. Within the reincarnation tribulation, faint and complex lightning glowed. The moment it fell, it caused the entire Poison God realm to tremble. A strong sense of dispersion constantly hovered in the sky, making people's minds hazy. Xun'er looked at the remaining half of the fivefold reincarnation tribulation roaring downward. Her eyes flashed with a chilling, murderous intent. That power could undoubtedly annihilate Xiao completely. In an instant, the calmness in Xun'er's heart surged again. Her divine artifact bracelet tore open, and the power of the reincarnation seal was fully detonated, shooting straight into the sky. "Girl, don't worry," a melodious voice echoed. Ancestor Crocodile's body suddenly expanded and transformed into a towering giant, charging straight at the descending half of the fivefold reincarnation tribulation. Demon source, endless radiance. Feeling the imminent, annihilating force, demonic Xiao suddenly smiled. The countless powers within him began to churn, and a terrifying aura of calm defiance swept out. Poison God Cauldron. 10,000 sacred poison pill. With my power, I shall strip you away. On the other side, a tiny black shadow appeared behind little fairy doctor, pulling her body forward. An ancient power that spanned the river of time surged toward Demon Moon's origin. "Strip away." The voice rang out, and then some of the purest power within Demon Moon's origin was suddenly drawn by some mysterious force, converging toward the demonic Xiao body. The origin of Yao Yue was imprisoned and suppressed, but as this force eroded her, her strength slowly declined from the fivefold reincarnation stage. Even the pure power absorbed from the devourer mother insect was rapidly dissipating under the influence of this greedy force. This guy was clearly attempting to disintegrate and devour the power within her body. A heart-wrenching roar echoed through the heavens, but everything remained unaffected. Yao Yue had been defeated, losing to the endless demonic power of Demon Lord Xiao and the newly risen Poison God. "Gurgle, this madman." Ancestor Crocodile looked up at the cold, decisive queen-like figure of little fairy doctor in the sky. A burst of fiery color surged at the corner of his dry lips. With such a legacy, how could the Poison God Palace not thrive? Soon, the Poison God realm would reclaim its supreme dominance over the entire demon realm. Boom! The supreme forbidden power from Yao Yue's fivefold reincarnation tribulation thundercloud hadn't yet struck towards Demon Lord Xiao when it was jointly dispelled by Ancestor Crocodile and Little Fairy Doctor. The sky regained some calm once again. What is this? What pure and concentrated power? With the crisis averted, Xiao retracted all the demonic powers, but his body was extremely weak. A heavy dizziness struck him, and his body staggered unsteadily. As he gazed at the incoming white energy halos, he muttered to himself. This power seemed to be something Little Fairy Doctor had stripped from Yao Yue, and it had no substantial destructive power. Instead, it resembled a healing energy that continually nourished and repaired his broken body. These are some of Yao Yue's origins, which can no longer be returned to her. I'll give them to you. After a blink, Little Fairy Doctor delicately moved her jade hand, expressionless as she activated 2 Poison God tokens to strip the power from Yao Yue's origin. Xiao was helping her without hesitation, so it was only right to give him some benefits in return. Although the Poison God Palace possessed top-tier immortal arts, it was unrealistic for even Little Fairy Doctor, with her current prestige, to bestow them upon Xiao, so this scene unfolded. No. You can't do this. Yao Yue's origin light slowly turned into an energy shadow, her pupils filled with endless fear and helplessness. She had spent years plotting to break through to the true fivefold stage and become the strongest being, but in the end, she had become someone else's pawn, under the Poison God's command. As time passed, the Poison God Palace regained its original appearance. The core members below hurriedly flew towards Little Fairy Doctor, their eyes filled with obvious respect. They naturally understood Little Fairy Doctor's actions, but after a brief pause, none of them spoke out to stop her. With the Poison God reincarnation seal and the 2 Poison God tokens, even though Little Fairy Doctor's strength was currently weak, no one in the Poison God Palace, apart from a few Supreme Elders, could move an inch. Ancestor Crocodile, Mirror Moon, Throw Yao Yue into the poison prison and wait for her punishment. At the same time, consolidate all the power of the Poison God Palace. Any unknown evildoers must be eradicated. I will announce new rules in 10 days. Little fairy doctor spoke softly, standing in the void. Her seemingly weak voice carried the terrifying pressure of someone in a superior position. Poison God's command is brilliant. Countless voices of support rang out. Instantly, many powerful figures in the Poison God Palace felt their hearts stir, a boiling sense of excitement spreading through them. With the Poison God present, the brilliance of the Poison God Palace would soon return. By then, who would dare to speak against the Poison God Palace? Brother Xiao, are you okay? Xun'er hurriedly soared through the sky, reaching Xiao's side. Looking at the faint, weak energy surrounding him, she furrowed her brows. I'm fine, but this power? At this moment, Xiao's energy was nearly exhausted. He leaned unsteadily on Xun'er's fragrant shoulder, the refreshing scent spreading. If it weren't for the demonic power and the mysterious shadow appearing, this journey would have certainly ended in destruction. Xiao felt that there was a complex power within the demon. That power could only be explored slowly. However, looking at the energy halo before him, Xiao nodded with relief at Little Fairy Doctor. Indeed, the demon realm had not let him down. This power was not Yao Yue's five-fold stage origin. After all, Xiao did not cultivate poison techniques and couldn't absorb that power. It was the pure energy transformed by the mother insect. This girl, she's probably quite proud and ambitious. Ancestor Crocodile and Mirror Moon exchanged a glance. With a wave of their hands, they suppressed Yao Yue. Looking at the pale little fairy doctor, they chuckled lightly. The reason she took Yao Yue's origin was partly to punish her and establish her authority. Of course, it was also to help Xiao. While there were personal emotions involved, many of the higher-ups could not refuse her actions. In the blink of an eye, a muffled groan echoed from the tranquil sky above. Countless thunderbolts intertwined, forming a spectacular thunderclap. Within the thunderstorm, a terrifying aura filled with unsettling fluctuations slowly spread. Reincarnation tribulation? Some powerful figures with sharp eyes looked up, a chilling sensation suppressing all the power within their bodies. Whoosh whoosh. Xiao forced himself to rally, his burning gaze fixed ahead. It seemed he intended to leave Xun'er's side and face the reincarnation tribulation alone, a trial meant for him. Big brother Xiao. Xun'er couldn't help but roll her eyes as she glanced at Xiao moving sluggishly, a look of grievance on her face. Ahem. Xiao realized his plan had been seen through and immediately coughed awkwardly. Always trying to act tough. Xun'er gracefully stepped forward like a blue lotus, her immense sacred flame power sweeping out. It was powerful enough to match the reincarnation tribulation head-on. Isn't he always like this? Little Fairy Doctor's toxic mist power stirred once more, and thick, corrosive energy spread out, combining with Xun'er's energy to face the reincarnation tribulation together. Heh. Xiao reluctantly stepped back, his face flushing with embarrassment. Clearly, he still felt guilty for blocking their way during his demonic transformation, though the outcome had been favorable. Knowing Xiao's nature, he would never openly discuss it. The power of the second reincarnation tribulation was formidable, but under the combined efforts of the two reincarnators, the terrifying force slowly faded, eventually transforming into a series of lightning storms that gently passed through Xiao's body. His depleted reincarnation power began to revive and gather, causing his strength to steadily rise. Half-step second reincarnation stage. Quasi-second reincarnation stage. Second reincarnation stage. Although the primal power collected by Yao Yue was pure, Xiao had not expected to break through two small levels consecutively. Now that the danger is over, you can rest here for a while. After eliminating the hidden threat, Little Fairy Doctor turned her head and whispered, Xiao nodded, and with that, the Poison God election was officially concluded. Xiao believed that with Little Fairy Doctor's current reputation, it wouldn't be long before her name spread across the entire demon realm. The figures in the altar scattered, each going to handle matters related to the Poison God Palace. Fortunately, The devourer mother insect that Yao Yue had stolen had only consumed a quarter of the strong individuals, so the poison god palace remained a mighty force. As for Xiao, due to the excessive consumption of his demonic power, although the demonic cube had prevented any backlash this time, he still sought out a secret room to quietly meditate. Now, with his strength at the second reincarnation stage, it was crucial to study and control his powers. As his strength increased, the gap between him and those at higher stages would become harder to bridge, especially when facing opponents above his level. One thing was certain: Xiao himself had no clear understanding of his true limits. Perhaps, in his normal state, he could only deal with ordinary second or third reincarnation stage experts, but after his demonic transformation, although his power couldn't compare with the Grand Elder of the Poison God Palace, it wasn't far behind. Whether it was the reincarnation power, sacred flame, or demonic power, Xiao comprehension of these abilities seemed to have reached a new level after such intense battles. For an entire month, Xiao had been resting in the stone chamber, quietly adjusting the various powers within his body. He even missed the Grand Poison God ceremony held by the Poison God Palace. However, this period of seclusion allowed him to gain many insights, and he became more familiar with his second reincarnation stage strength. Whoosh whoosh. In the quiet stone chamber, Xiao slowly exhaled the last trace of pure energy. His closed eyes opened slowly, and vast reincarnation power surged out of his body like a fountain. Second reincarnation stage, truly incomparable to the first. Xiao clenched his fist, feeling the overwhelming destructive force spreading. He couldn't help but smile. His journey in the demon realm not only resolved Little Fairy Doctor's matters, but he also accidentally broke through to the second reincarnation stage, a double victory. All matters in the demon realm have been settled. It's time to leave. Ziyin, Yun, and that missing Su Shuiying. After completing his seclusion, Xiao murmured the names of two deeply ingrained individuals, and every time he mentioned the last name, there was a twinge of pain in his heart. The protector of the Xiao clan, the various past events stabbing at his heart. He didn't know where that person was now. Boom, boom, boom. Xiao mind was full of emotions, and those feelings soon transformed into drops of pure energy, slowly falling onto the stone chamber's floor. In an instant, the luxurious and noble stones in the chamber turned to dust, and a wild beam of energy shot up from the ground, carrying an immense force. Wum wum. The top of the stone chamber was easily pierced through. The energy quietly cut through the sky, waking up the tranquil Poison God Palace. Xiao strength. As Xiao figure emerged from the stone chamber, standing tall against the horizon, a refreshing laugh echoed, accompanied by several dark figures rushing from the distance. Xun'er, Little Fairy Doctor, Senior Ancestor Crocodile. In order not to disturb the order of the Poison God Palace, Xiao and the others slowly landed in the plaza within the palace's main hall. Xiao cupped his hands in a greeting and smiled at Ancestor Crocodile, his gaze turning to the two women beside him. After not seeing them for several days, the fluctuations around the two seemed to have undergone a rare transformation. Xiao Gij, while you were in seclusion, Little Fairy Doctor has been reappointed as the Palace Master of the Poison God Palace. She has consolidated the power of the entire palace, and now, she's quite formidable, Xun'er said happily as she approached Xiao. Xun'er and Little Fairy Doctor had no real age difference, and her calling her sister was really for Xiao sake. After all, Xun'er, being as intelligent as she was, clearly understood some of Xiao unspoken thoughts and regrets. Not at all. After a moment of modesty, laughter filled the air, the atmosphere peaceful. However, throughout it all, Ancestor Crocodile's gaze remained fixed on Xiao, as if concerned about something. Vroom vroom. As they conversed, the space in the plaza suddenly twisted, and a poisonous beast crawled out, gently landing on Little Fairy Doctor's delicate body. What's going on? Xiao noticed that Little Fairy Doctor's smile instantly froze on her face. There's news from the Void Mansion. It seems one of our powerful figures from the Poison God Palace has been ambushed, Little Fairy Doctor said, her beautiful eyes filled with anger, followed by a surge of seriousness on her face. Just after her appointment, Such a serious incident had occurred beneath the demon god realm. The intention seemed obvious. The Void Mansion is the junction between the poison god realm and the demon god realm. We've always maintained a non-interference stance with each other. It seems this matter is far from simple, Ancestor Crocodile said, stepping forward with a solemn expression. In the demon realm, whenever a reincarnation stage powerhouse went out, it was always recorded, and these matters were entirely under the control of the demon realm center. Naturally, the poison god palace's internal matters would not be interfered with. However, if an unknown enemy appeared at the edge of the poison god realm, these reincarnation stage powerhouses could not act easily. Little fairy doctor, do you need help? Xiao Yin asked indifferently, then spoke up. Neither of them were from the demon realm, so they weren't within its jurisdiction. Yes, but little fairy doctor agreed, then turned her gaze to Ancestor Crocodile, seemingly avoiding his gaze, her silver teeth lightly biting her lip. In the Void Mansion, there is a powerful figure from the poison god realm who is at the third reincarnation stage. If they are able to annihilate the entire army, then the incoming enemies are definitely not good-natured, and we only know half the situation about your team. I'll go with you. Little fairy doctor turned around and gazed out at the vast world within the poison god palace, speaking softly. Cough, cough. Hearing little fairy doctor's words, Ancestor Crocodile repeatedly waved his hand, seemingly communicating with Xiao Yin. A figure like little fairy doctor was the true ruler of the entire poison god realm. Even though she hadn't fully grown, she was still the foundation of the realm. Ancestor Crocodile couldn't bear to see her risk her life in such a situation. However, considering the relationship between Little Fairy Doctor and Xiao Yin during their previous battle, he had no choice but to seek Xiao Yin's help. This may not be a good idea. The situation within the Poison God Palace has only just stabilized, and you haven't fully mastered the power of the reincarnation seal within you. Plus, with the 2 Poison God tokens in your possession, leaving the palace recklessly isn't wise. Xiao Yin paused for a moment, then directly shook his head, rejecting Little Fairy Doctor's suggestion. Boo, but... Upon hearing this, Little Fairy Doctor pouted in dissatisfaction, seemingly knowing this would be the result, but still couldn't help but try. After all, she was naturally aloof and didn't like the constraints of this vast realm. Because, from a certain point of view, after the changes brought by the First Heaven and Earth War, the demon realm had grown far stronger than the other realms like the monster realm or ghost realm, except for the human realm. This was likely due to the similar dark powers shared between the demon realm and the extraterritorial evil clan. We should go. It's best to investigate the matter and send word back. That way, we can return directly to the human realm. Yes. Will we meet again? Her eyes held a faint expectation, as if a pure, innocent little girl waiting for something to look forward to. Of course. Next time we meet, I won't be weaker than you or Xun'er. That's not for sure. Let's go then. Ancestor Crocodile's eyes shifted, watching Xiao Yin surge into the void, teasing. Senior, you only know how to tease me. Little Fairy Doctor slowly shook her head, then her playful expression turned solemn. A cold, distant aura spread from her, as if warning others to stay away. It can't be helped. Rest assured, Palace Master, a long time from now, when you stand in front of this guy again, everything will have changed. Can I really be with him? At this moment, Little Fairy Doctor seemed like a young woman deeply immersed in the sea of emotions, endlessly wandering. Yet even she didn't realize that it was precisely because of these feelings and other mysterious forces, combined with her cultivation of poison arts, that her progress was far more rapid than expected. However, buried deep in her heart was a seed, one that would eventually fill the void left behind in the Dochi continent after a long period of time. This time, it seemed that all regrets would finally come to a perfect conclusion. After bidding farewell to the Poison God Palace, Xiao Yin and Xun'er, under the joint efforts of the Poison God Palace's strong practitioners, tore open a spatial passage and headed toward the site of the incident, the Void Manor. This time, it doesn't feel this simple, Xiao Yin murmured, frowning in doubt as he and Xun'er sped forward in the endless dark void. Within the Poison God Palace, the supreme force in the Poison God realm, Not only were there many powerful beings, but the palace also controlled all matters in the poison god realm. However, after this great battle, Little Fairy Doctor's new identity as the poison god would undoubtedly spread far and wide. At this moment, attacking the poison god realm didn't seem like a wise decision. If, as the intelligence says, it is a powerful practitioner from the demon god realm, then this situation is definitely not as simple as it appears, Xiao Yin continued. It is said that the demon god realm harbors a demon sword that no one has been able to pull out since ancient times. Based on my speculation, it is likely that the appearance of the new poison god in the poison god realm has caused the demon god realm, which was originally evenly matched, to feel immense pressure. Hence their preparation to gather strong practitioners to investigate. After all, once the new poison god matures, the demon god realm will undoubtedly find itself suppressed. Xun'er shook her head, calmly analyzing the situation like a thoughtful and meticulous steward. I hope so, Xiao Yin replied. As their conversation ended, the two increased their speed once more. Although they encountered several spatial cracks and other dangers along the way, their journey proceeded without incident. Elsewhere, at the edge of the poison god realm, a mysterious void slightly emerged. The location was special and obscure, hard to detect unless guided by something extraordinary. The void was pitch black, with an eerie aura constantly rising from it, resembling a thorny land filled with the chilling presence of death. The thorny region was vast, spanning thousands of meters, yet its edges were marked with countless black runes, seemingly meant to suppress and seal the boundary between two realms. The existence of this void manor prevented powerful practitioners from both realms from tearing apart the void and taking reckless action. If the seals within the realm were broken, it could cause considerable disaster. At the center of the thorny land stood a towering black palace, silent and imposing. However, the numerous signs of battle scattered across the thorny land hinted that this place had recently endured a fierce confrontation. The demon lord's instructions were indeed accurate. Now that we've breached the void manor, once we break these seals, our demon god realm army will be able to traverse the void continuously and directly attack the poison god palace. But about that poison god, the one causing such a stir in the poison god realm, is he really true? It must be a rumor. The poison god realm hasn't seen a poison god for countless years. With all the recent troubles, how could one suddenly appear out of nowhere? Not far from the Black Palace, some thorny rocks in the thorny land occasionally released black mist and faint whispers. A golden and glass-like light flashed suddenly. What is that? The two beams of light vanished quickly, but they still raised the alert of these mysterious creatures. The scent of flames? A signal. The black mist swirled, and soon it took the form of a figure wrapped in dark fog. After a while, it snorted coldly, and its voice was filled with grim seriousness. Why do you dare to trespass in the poison god realm? Xiao Yin, somewhat surprised, wondered how his presence could be detected by these beings, who were likely no stronger than 8-star Do Xian, despite his own strength being at the second reincarnation stage. He immediately pulled Xun'er and revealed themselves from the void. Attack! The shadow roared, and suddenly, hundreds of powerful auras surged from the thorny land, some of which faintly carried the presence of reincarnation stage experts. Brother Xiao Yin, we cannot alert them, Xun'er said, frowning, then turning her gaze toward the Black Palace. At the same time, the sacred flame that had been dormant within Xun'er's body for a long time suddenly stirred, reacting as if it had encountered some familiar energy, releasing a wave of joy. Could there be a sacred flame, or a wielder of the sacred flame within that Black Palace? Xun'er asked, puzzled. But her spiritual power couldn't penetrate the palace to investigate further. The immense and sacred power of the demon god spread, releasing harsh white smoke in waves. Despite the considerable strength contained within the black mist, it was no match for Xiao Yan's destructive onslaught, and one by one, it was defeated. Glurp! More and more of the black mist was eradicated by Xiao Yan's attack. A few black mist entities, barely at the fourfold reincarnation stage, rapidly surged, seemingly attempting to flee towards the massive Black Palace. Crack! Xiao Yin, naturally, would not let the enemy escape. His power surged once more, and with a swift motion, he struck down, annihilating all the black mist that had taken refuge in the thorny land. Formation patterns. After doing all of this, Xiao Yin did not rush into the Black Palace. Instead, he combined formation patterns with sacred flame power, surrounding the outer edges of this void domain with thorns. This was done to prevent any enemies from escaping unnoticed and triggering an ambush. The aura inside seems a bit weak. After making thorough preparations, Xiao Yin activated his soul power to probe inside the Black Palace, but his brows furrowed. According to previous information from the Poison God Palace, this void domain was guarded by a powerhouse comparable to the threefold reincarnation stage. Yet, there was no trace of any Poison God Palace expert's aura inside. All signs pointed to the attacker's strength being potentially terrifying. Even with Xiao Yan's current strength, being a genuine twofold reincarnation stage cultivator, he wasn't fully confident in his ability to fight a threefold reincarnation stage powerhouse. However, despite lacking absolute confidence, Xiao Yin was not fearful. In fact, he was somewhat eager to test how much stronger his current abilities were compared to before. Let's go, but be careful. He activated his soul power, wrapping it around the two of them, hiding them in the void as they slowly entered the Black Palace. Whoosh! Instead of entering through the main entrance, they used Xiao Yan's soul power and spatial abilities to quietly infiltrate the surroundings of the palace, sneaking inside. Inside the Black Palace, there was a vast plaza, filled with strange black mist swirling around. 10 pitch-black stone pillars were scattered across the area. The pillars were covered in eerie black markings, and from the tops of the 10 stone pillars extended chains resembling the dark chains used by the Soul Palace's experts. The 10 chains and stone pillars intercrossed, and in the midst of them, there were 3 faintly visible, bizarre light orbs, each pulsing with a weak aura. That person is Bamboo Spirit Hermit? Glurp. Su Shuiying? 2 astonished voices rang out in Xiao Yin and Xun'er's minds, like a thunderclap in a clear sky.